Now, Father, we're about to the point in the story where some unthinkable headlines start to reveal themselves. We've talked privately about them, about your church. Things that were thought to be inconceivable.
Yes.
And not only were the accusations of the abuse of children horrifying and almost unimaginable, the deeper problem over time seems to reveal the church, the people in the church and the leadership roles fail so terribly. What can you say to people watching this who read the same things we all read? Just such a failure of the leadership of the church itself. Talk about that, Father, please.
I think there's an important thing just to say simply that the greatest danger that I found was that somehow being a Catholic priest moved away from the simplicity of Jesus, which was that of saying, I'm here to serve, and I'm going to not have to wear fancy clothes, I'm not going to have prestige and whatnot. It started to move to the insecurity of the clique and the control and the power. And that was
so this idea for human beings that power
is a big word, and whenever you speak of of those kind of crimes, it's a power thing.
Sure.
I'm controlling these young boys or these young girls, and I'm controlling them.
Yes.
That to me was the real sin. That probably is the fundamental reality of that all. Mm-hmm. And so it's just, and I look at it and I say, ugh, that's terrible. And yet, as a priest, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying as best I can to make sure that I don't allow that to continue in my life and in the expectations and the dealings that I have with people in my world, willing to say to them, I'm a sinner. I'm a sinner, and I'm not going to try to tout anything more. I'm a sinner, and I stand with you as a sinner, asking that together we might be able to come into that mercy, into that love of God in our life, to be able to move on.
Yeah. Father, let me be direct with you. Was there a moment in your, as these stories revealed and revealed and revealed and revealed and revealed and revealed and revealed, worse and worse and worse and worse, particularly amongst the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a time, a moment in which you said, I'm out. I can't be part of this anymore. This is just not what I can be an ambassador for. Was there any time in which you, and by the way, it'd be reasonable if...
Yeah. I think I have to be honest and say no.
Okay. No, I want you to tell me.
I'm not trying to sugarcoat it at all. Because
would it be fair to say that, I mean, I know you, be fair to say that you were horrified.
Oh, of course.
Horrified.
Of course. And
shocked.
Shocked, and a stain was put on the vocation that I love. You know, here I'm given my whole life to this, and all of a sudden there's a stain that's put on this, a very bad thing.
Yes.
But at the same time, I think my confidence in God, and also just a good read of history, is the awareness that we're always going to find people that are going to be distorting the image of Jesus and are going to start to move in ways that are contrary to that. And what it takes is maybe a prophet to be willing to stand up and say, wait a minute.
And this
I
Pope.
think we need to move in a new direction. This Pope, there you go, Francis. Yeah.
Well, that's what I want to ask you about. Do you believe in your heart that finally, after an eternity way too long,
Yes.
that this Pope is finally moving in the direction that is long, long overdue and proper?
I resonate with Francis. I resonate, and I'm proud. I'm proud to see his humility, his honesty, and his love. And the thing that hit me.
He is shaking things up, has
very
he
much
not?
so. But one of the most beautiful things that I touched, I think it was the second day after he'd been made Pope, he went to the Roman prison,
Yes.
and the word was that he got down and he washed the feet of a Muslim girl. Oh, you say, oh, okay. Whoa!
Well,
That's big stuff. For him to get down on his knees and wash the feet of a Muslim girl. And what resonated with me was just the very simple thing, that's what Jesus would have done. And so in many ways, I don't mean to idealize a person, because we know that we're all failures, and there could be failures in Francis,
Sure.
I know, but at the same time, in so many ways, he represents what I think Jesus would be doing today.
and so this papacy has given you, at long last, a feeling of
Hope.
and of
hope.
optimism.
And optimism and a vision, you know, and even when things were going bad, and the reports just kept coming and coming and coming.
It's just
you know,
unthinkable. I mean,
like
it's
waves of things were happening. And let's be clear, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. We've got to be very clear.
Yes.
But in the midst of that, I just kept getting close to Jesus and being able to say, I want to be like him, and I want to love, and I want to be honest, and I want to be real, and I don't want to have to. And again, we talked about the root problem with this is I don't want to have to play the power game. You know, I don't want to have a fancy car. I don't want to have a fancy clothes. I don't want to have to have, you know, I live in a HUD housing apartment, you know, and this is what I want. And because I think this is where Jesus is.
The question for you is the unthinkable change in society in the last 20 years on the topic of gay marriage,
Yes,
which of
yes.
course your church
Yes.
was
Marriage.
profoundly opposed to.
Correct.
Can you talk about your own feelings, evolving feelings, how you as a Catholic priest, prominent Catholic priest, feel today that might be in some ways differently than you felt 20 or 10 years ago? Maybe not at all. I don't know.
Well,
Talk about
I
that,
think
Father.
the key is, and Francis kind of echoed it with just a couple words. The couple of words is don't judge. And that's very, very strong in my way of understanding. And it's also the call to this word of respect, whether we're talking about Muslims or we're talking about people of different religions where we are, to make sure that there's a real sense of respect for where they are, and to allow them to be able to search for God as best they can, and being open to that.
So
officially, I'm going to come out and say that, you know, the relationship of two men with each other, two women with each other, highly respected, and even to be able to say that this is something from God. You know, who am I to say that God isn't the source of the love that they have for each other?
Oh, these are all very nice words, Father, but I mean, you know and I know that you would not officiate at a gay marriage.
No, I wouldn't. No.
And you were opposed to gay marriage.
I'm opposed to the marriage officially because of the. It gets down to the sexual reality of the vagina and the penis, and the purpose of what we deal with that. But I've got to be very careful because I don't want to be hypocritical because I can be.
Do you believe that your church is making significant progress from your perspective on the topic of gay marriage?
I think things have, not towards marriage, probably not. No, I don't think it is.
Do you feel that the gay community, that a person can go to that a gay person can be a member of the Catholic community today more easily than 10 years ago?
Yes, very much so.
So there is indeed some significant improvement.
As a pastor, I invited everyone to come and be part of my parish. If a couple were coming up to receive communion, at Mass, I would not be able to say, "Excuse me, I can't give you communion." No, I would give communion to both of them. I would want them to feel very, very much of that. And I've got to be very careful with regard to the sexuality issue, which is probably one of the key wrestling points of trying to understand this, that I don't become judgmental with that.
Father, I have one last question for you. From your perspective, would the world, as you understand it, be a better place if every single person were Catholic?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. And I think the beauty of it is that we need to, what's interesting is Pope Francis was speaking about Jews, and he says we got to stop proselytizing, trying to snatch them from being a Jew in order to be a Christian, which was the
so you believe the world is better with a diversity?
Oh yeah.
Would the world? Well, let me ask you this: would the world be a better place if every person were Christian?
Yeah. I love Jesus very much, and he's the center of my life, and I would long for people to be able to find the true experience of Jesus in a real way. Yes, I would. Well, I'm a missionary, and that's why I'm on television calling people to that. But again, you kind of come to that judgment that you've got to be careful that you're not trying to snatch someone from where they are, and holding on with deep respect of where they are. And here, this is my missionary thrust, if you will, in terms of inner dialogue. The greatest way that I can become an evangelist is to be enriched by you and your faith to make me a better Catholic.